Hi folks, I'm the newstarcadefan here, and welcome back to A Winter's Daydream. In the last episode, Umeko makes peace about what's going to happen to her in the future, and she's also pretty, sad that she thinks that the magic isn't coming through. Beetlejuice has never looked more cold or bright. Umeko, please, don't cry. My grandmother gasped, blinking in surprise. The small motion dispels yet more tears, making it leak from the corners of her eyes. She lifts her head, letting her hands drop from her mouth. Yukinari? Umeko. Yukinari. Umeko, it really is you. and, as, and then, as though he was standing right there all along. Ah, and this is Yukinari back in its younger days. The ghostly impression of my grandfather begins to materialize before the humble shrine. He's faintly transparent, shifting and shimmering like a reflection on the surface of the water, and not quite there, not quite alive, but still questionably him. He doesn't look like the grandfather I knew. Gone are the bristles about his chin, the stained and dirty akama, and the slightly discolored teeth yellowed from years of smoking cigarettes. He looks a lot younger. He's tall and slender, stately like a piece of bamboo, with dark hair and dark eyes. If I had to guess, I'd say this man was in his early 20s. Wasn't that the age he met my grandmother? She was 16, he was 24, and they fell in love at first sight. Wow. My grandmother blinks, her eyes red and puffy from tears, her hands clasped together to her chest over her heart, as though checking to see if it was still beating. I don't blame her. My grandfather is dead after all. He's supposed to be dead anyway, but he's still standing here. It's the only natural conclusion, really. If you can see dead people, you must be dead yourself. There's no way this can be real yet. I'm gonna feel my blood coursing through my body. I'm more accurately aware of it than any ever before, now that something fantastical has occurred to make me doubt my own existence. I'm alive, but the ghostly impression of my grandfather still hasn't faded. That must mean it really is real. This is really happening. Oh, Yukinari, is that really you? My grandfather smiles, that teasing smile of his I know so well, though he's decades younger than the old man I used to know. Who else would it be, Umeko? His voice is firmer now, though his body is still trembling, like the sail of a ship in the middle of a storm. Don't tell me you can't remember your own husband. Yukinari, oh, I missed you so much. And with that, she runs forward. Her dark hair flutters behind her like a veil. The sleeves of her kimono whip behind her as she runs. But she doesn't stop. She opens her arms wide open and throws herself at my grandfather in a passionate, almost desperate embrace. Half I expect her to fall straight through him. His existence is very tenuous on hovering on the brink between one world and the next. It seems inconceivable that he should be able to catch her flesh and blood body with those phantom arms, but I needn't have worried. Her hand falls against his chest. It doesn't go through like something from Magician's stage act. This is what Umeko wanted all along. This is what she craved all along, to be with Yukinari for one final time before she passes. That's why she went through all that trouble to get the kimono and such, and that's why she was reverted back to a young 16-year-old girl. Instead, my grandfather's body remains solid and immovable, still fairly transparent but rooted firmly in this world. For now, at least. Is that thanks to the deities enshrined here? I wonder. It might have been my imagination, but those stone foxes that guard the shrine, the one without the paw and ear, and his companion with the missing head, looks a bit, a touch bit more stately than they did before. It's almost like they know something. But that's ridiculous, isn't it? They're only stone. What does stone know? My grandfather takes a step back, his shoes sinking into the snow as he tries to support my grandmother's weight. A slight smile on his face, he says, his eyes flashing. Goodness, Umeko, have you put on weight since I last saw you? What do you mean? You're heavy. You have to remember I have a bad back. Oh, you old fool, Yukinari, you're not meant to say things like that to a woman. Hmm? My mistake. But I've never been very good at saying the things I'm supposed to say. I prefer to say things I like to say. I know. It's a wonder my mother ever approved of you. It must it must be my ready wit and good looks. Huh, you wish. Come on, there's no point in trying to play out again. We were married for more than 50 years. That's right, but it's been such a long time since I saw you. Did you think you'd get rid of me that easy? My grandfather smiles fondly as he winds his arms around my grandmother. His existence seems a touch less tremendous now, perhaps because of his close proximity to my grandmother, and I can no longer see through him. See, this is the picture of what Umeko was talking about that night when she met Yukinari. That night when her life was changed forever. And yeah, while Yukinari was very practical, but he is a rather handsome guy. No matter what happens to my body, I will always be with you in spirit. Do you really mean that? Of course, that's how I was able to come back. It was no easy feat, but I had a bit of a helping hand. From the gods? That's a secret. I'd get in trouble if I told you. Alright, don't tell me. I know you men like keeping secrets. It makes you feel big and important. My grandfather laughs and shakes his head. You know me too well, Umeko. You're not particularly hard to read, and you always did like reading. My grandfather sighs. His breath ruffles the top of my grandmother's head, making a few dark strands of her hair dance. I missed you, Umeko. I missed you too. Well, you really are a fool. What do you mean? You haven't even commented on my appearance. I thought it should go without saying. You look beautiful. You're even lovelier than I remember. And though you call me a fool, I do remember what you looked like during our first meeting quite well. I have an impeccable memory. Oh, Yukinari, is that true? Do you honestly recall the evening we first met? How could I forget? You're wearing a charming kimono pattern with flowers, much like the one you're wearing now, but a little less flashy. And the shawl, I think? I wasn't sure if I was gonna wear it with the shawl. It was such a cool night. I thought it would be fine without it, but my mother insisted. She said it would set off my outfit. I'm very glad you did decide to wear it. Me too. It's the one piece of advice I'm most thankful my mother gave me. I bet it looked rather dashing when I caught it for you, didn't I? Don't flatter yourself, old man. From what I remember, you were quite taken with me. Didn't I say you? Didn't you say I looked like a prince? I was a fanciful young thing back then, full of wild ideas. That's what I liked about you the most. My grandfather rests his cheek against my grandmother's chest. He holds her close, wrapping his arms about her body protectively, shielding her from the bitter wind. Umeko, I don't have long left. I know. I came back because I wanted to tell you how much I love you, even now. But it seems you already know that. I never doubted your feelings, not for a second. Thank you. I knew I chose well when I decided to marry you. No other girl would compare, even though I eat too many sweet dumplings. Even so, no matter how heavy you may be, Umeko, I will always love you. You're much more charming when I first met you, And tease me as nearly as much. You're too busy talking about the stars. Oh goodness, did I? You did. You practically talked my ear off, but it was practically the same. Forgive me, I couldn't help myself. I was so bowled over by your beauty, I wanted to impress you. But then, I'm afraid my rambling bored you to have to. You didn't bore me, you never have. The world always seemed more exciting when you were there with me. I could say the same thing about you. I will always care for you, and I'll wait for as long as it takes for wait until we're reunited once more. I'm afraid that won't be very long at all. I've been thinking about this for the past few months, but my body feels dull and heavy when I wake up, and my fingers always spin the way I want them to. I might be joining you soon, perhaps in a few more years. Just don't hurry yourself to an early grave for my sake. I want you to live a long and happy life. I have lived a long and happy life. That's because I can spend it with you. Oh, really? My grandfather chuckles under his breath. You say I'm a charmer? I think you're better with words than I am. I learned it from the best. And I have been reading a lot of books lately. Then you should know what happens when you reach the last page of a fairy tale. If it's a grim fairy tale, death in despair usually. Don't be so maudlin. Think about something happier. What about Cinderella? I know. My grandmother smiles. She looks up at my grandfather, a good head taller than she is, with wistful eyes. Hesitantly, her cheeks flushing pale pink, she entwines her fingers with my grandfather's and, pre- and presses a soft gentle kiss against his mouth. It's almost midnight when my grandmother and I finally return back to our home. At least that's what the circular clock in my grandmother's living room tells me. 30 minutes to 12 exactly. Well, probably not exactly, because the clock in my grandparents' house has always been either 5 minutes too fast or 5 minutes too slow. It's more or less a reliable metric in our daily lives. The precise time isn't too important. It's not like we're baking a cake or mixing dangerous chemicals in a lab experiment. I don't study chemistry like Rio. I'm a law student through and through. Gosh, my feet are killing me. My grandmother sighs as she sits down at the kotatsu, her wooden sandals removed in the entrance hall. I haven't walked that much in years. We did spend a lot of time shopping earlier, and then there was all those stairs. You are right, those stairs were a menace. They nearly killed me. She wasn't exaggerating either. When my grandmother and I were descending 76 stone steps after our incredible otherworldly encounter, she lost her footing and slipped. She was very nearly hurtling down the remainder of those stone steps to meet her maker, but I was able to reach out and grab her in time. I would have met Yukinari much sooner if either of us expected that would happen. You saved me, dear. Don't mention it. I try to sound casual and all that, but in truth, my grandmother's tumble scared me half to death. Well, she did warn about it earlier. My heart started to thump so hard I thought I was gonna burst out of my chest like that famous scene from Alien. I stole that DVD from my dad's collection when I was a kid and forced Otoko to watch it with me in the living room late one night. She was 8. I was 10. It scarred to both of us, but I think Otoko's held a grudge against me ever since for subjecting her for such something so terrifying. Now I think about it, Otoko has a lot of reasons to dislike me. Trapping her inside the futon cupboard was only a tip of the iceberg. Now you're beginning to see why Otoko, and maybe now your relationship with Otoko can be repaired. My younger sister might hate me. I think I've begun to repair my relationship with my grandmother. I think I like to believe I understand her a bit more than I did before. Oh, you were my savior. Savior? Yes, a noble prince. I really think so. I mean, who let their own grandma plummet to her doom? I wouldn't have minded if it were my grandmother. You didn't like her? She was even stricter than my own mother, if you can imagine that. Not that if you've ever met your great grandmother, let alone your great great grandmother. What was your grandma like? She wasn't much like me. She was so stern and she was always telling me off about my manners. She said I spoke without thinking, and I don't respect my elders enough. She didn't like my handwriting either. What's wrong with your handwriting? All I found my grandmother's handwriting a bit wispy. The characters are so thin they almost seem to be running off the paper, so it's not unreadable. Otoko's writing is more indecipherable. Her characters are round and curvy, and she likes to decorate her writing with little stars and hearts. Uh-huh. Even in English-speaking countries, that will get you tagged with points off. She said the way my pen was all wrong, and I hadn't been brought up better. Then she'd shoot my mother a nasty glare. I don't think she approved of me being raised by a single parent. It wasn't my fault when that father died when I was young. She did the best she could. Her grandmother frowns, her fingers resting on top of the kotatsu. I find my mother can be strict, but my grandmother was far worse. She spoke loftily and lectured my mother like she was a child. My mother got embarrassed and then she took it out on me. I don't think many people like their grandparents were. I paused, suddenly feeling guilty. Maybe they think they're so different that they can't understand them. They may be right. The generational gap can be insurmountable sometimes. I never knew what you were on about you. You were always talking about your pocket monsters and dragon orbs. It was Dragon Ball actually. The show was incredibly popular. Well, there you go. I had no idea, so I tried to make an effort. I didn't want to be like my grandmother or my mother. I think you've been lovely to me this whole time. Really? My grandmother looks at me shrewdly. And all this time I found out the only reason you put up with my company when you was younger because your parents made you. Maybe that was true at first, but I got older. Things changed. I know, dear, I'm only teasing. You've been a great help to me, and I can't thank you enough. No, I should be the one thanking you. Thank you for always being patient with me, even though I was an annoying kid. It's quite alright. Everyone changes, and you were only little back then. You weren't to know. I guess. Maybe she's right. Maybe everyone does change. In that case, perhaps my relationship with my sister can change too. I hope it does. We might be dissimilar in most aspects, but from the looks to our interests and our general attitudes, but we are related and only a couple of years apart. I let it rift between us out of complacency. I thought things would never change no matter what I did. I was wrong. Things always change like the tectonic plates shifting beneath the Earth's crust. Looking back on it, I wish I was. Looking back on it, I wish I'd been a bit nicer to my grandmother when I was your age. She could be awfully cruel, but she had a hard life. Maybe she wasn't so bad deep down inside, but now I know I'll never get the chance. How old were you when she died? I must have been in my mid-20s. I remember being so shocked. I thought there was no way such an indomitable matron can ever pass away, but it happens to the best of us. Hmm. Well, she didn't go down without a fight, though. Doctor said she had respiratory problems for years. They thought she died much earlier than she did. People can be pretty tenacious when their lives are on the line, I guess. You're right. Her grandmother looked old and frail in her final days, but she still has such an unbelievable energy. She didn't want to die. Just like my husband. But you were able to meet him again. That's right, I met him again. I swallow. What should I say? I don't want to say I hope you meet him again soon because there's no way such a reunion can occur under favorable circumstances, but to find my grandmother living the rest of her life in a deserted village with relations, Oh, you don't worry about me. I'll be fine. You will? Yeah, slipping on the steps gave me some perspective. I do miss my husband, but I don't want to go just yet. My eyes might not work the way they used to, and sometimes it hurts to get up in the morning, but I have a lot left to do. Like what? Like spend more time with you, for one. You need to tell me all the exciting things you've been doing in Tokyo. I'd love to hear all your stories. You can bring me some green tea while we talk? Exactly. I think it would be wonderful. Me too. I returned her smile with one of my own. For once, I'm not trying to be polite. I really do mean what I'm saying from the bottom of my heart. It would be wonderful. I feel so content sitting here in this cozy living room with my grandmother. I wouldn't mind if this moment lasted forever. But time stops for no man or woman. It keeps ticking. It's 15 minutes to midnight now. According to the clock on the wall, perhaps it's actually 20 minutes to midnight or 10. I'm not sure. Well, I'll have to talk longer, but my grandmother stifles a yawn with the palm of her hand. I should be getting to bed. I'm not used to staying up this late. You won't want to go without your beauty sleep. Wait, I've had plenty of excitement for one day, I think. You met your husband again, and you had a near-death experience. Not many of you women your age can say that. Sounds like something from a story, but it really happened. I hope so. Part of me wonders whether it was all a dream. If it was, it was the most perfect dream anybody ever has had. And I'm gonna end it here. If you liked what you have seen, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, don't forget to share the video because it helps the channel out a lot. I know the videos have been getting progressively longer, but I really do like this visual novel and hope to finish it off soon. Anyway, I'm the new Starcade fan saying thanks for watching, have a good day or night wherever you are, and bye for now.